Hi everyone, I am back. I've had a week out injured. I've had some tendonitis in my foot, so I'll talk to you about that another day. But I am back. I've got a middle tonight. I actually had a game last night. I ran the line on the FA Youth Cup in Winchester. A pretty good game, pretty fast, but a couple of quick, really interesting offside decisions, but that's all in the past. So today I am out in the middle. I've got about a 45-minute drive to get to the ground. So it's 4 o'clock now. I'm gonna leave probably about 5:30, maybe a little bit around that time. And I'm being observed. So this is my second observation of the season. If you haven't seen my first observation vlog, I'll put it up here, a link to it. But yeah, second observation of the season. So quite excited by that. I just got a new kit bag delivered in the post. I'm not going to use it tonight because I want to do a quick vlog about that, about this Nike kit bag that I got. But yeah, I'm just cooking some food and I'll be off to the game shortly. Very glamorous. Hey everyone, just got back from my game back home. It is 11:15, so a nice late evening, a nice game back. And yeah, I'll give you a little debrief of my game. So it was Downton Reserves against Verwood Reserves, I think that's what they're called, in the Hampshire Combination Development League. And there was about a crowd of 30, one being an observer. So as I got to the game, a few minutes later the observer turned up, introduced himself to me. Really nice guy, it seems. And yeah, got the game underway. A little bit of issues with floodlights. There was 6 floodlights around the pitch. When I walked out as we were going out for the game, 4 were on and 2 weren't in the middle. So I went over to ask for the 2 to be turned on, and for the 2 to be turned on, the other 4 then went out, which wasn't ideal, but luckily there was enough light to start the game. And by the time I'd started to think, oh, I've forgot about the floodlights, I looked up and they were on, so it didn't actually impact the game, which was great. First half was pretty straightforward. Both teams wanted to play football, passing it around. There was a few players. There was a lot of different kind of battles around the pitch. A few players who committed a few careless challenges, and so it got to a point by the end of the first half it was 0-0. No real major decision, no reckless challenge, but there was 3 players that were definitely persistent, and basically the next challenge they were going to do in the second half was going to be a yellow, and they all knew that. I told them, and basically they knew what was coming. Second half was the temperature started to rise slightly. I don't think it was a badly tempered game in any sense, but I think both teams realised that they could win the game. It was still 0-0, and both teams were attacking. And then there was a couple of challenges by the two of the players, funnily enough, who were on persistence. So both of those guys got yellow cards, and the home team had, I think, a corner. The ball's come in and really quickly cleared, so I had to get on my bike down the sprint up where there was a one-on-one striker and defender going through on goal, and outside the box the strikers basically tripped, the defenders tripped and kind of pulled the striker down, and really easy, one of the easiest Dogzo red cards you can give. And normally when you give a red card you're gonna get some aggro, and it was the strangest feeling because everyone was just like, yeah, that's easy red. Even the player who always gave a red card didn't even question it. He was just like, cool, done. I've saved my team probably going a goal behind. And yeah, the game continued. Couple of fouls maybe that were borderline. Well, one that was borderline reckless. It was late. It was a right winger on a left back, and just gave the free kick. I could have given a yellow. Another yellow for stopping a promising attack, and another yellow for a defender basically trying to trip a attacker running through, but the attacker stayed on his feet and managed to get a shot off. But just because of the way the defender went in, it was a yellow for me. So ended up being 3 yellows for the home team, 1 for the away team, and 1 red card for the home team. The game finished 0-0. A couple of things in terms of my performance. Before I get into the observation, it was a fast game. It was end to end. When it went down to 10 men, all of a sudden it was definitely a lot more split in terms of long passes. And actually, the 10 men on the home side didn't affect. You'd normally think they would drop back in and it would just be one way. And it didn't feel like that was the case. It felt like actually the 10 men were actually playing better and were more likely to get potentially a goal, or they were getting a lot more chances. There was actually one penalty call in the last minute for the home team who had 10 men, where the attacker's through and there's coming together with the attacker and the defender. And to be honest, there was contact, but it was just not enough. I think the attacker was looking for it. I actually spoke to him at the end of the game, after the game in the bar, and he said there was contact, but probably wasn't enough to cause a foul, and the manager was happy. So overall, everyone was happy with the performance, which was great. In terms of my feeling, I thought I had a great game, to be honest. I noticed at the start of the game, some of the 18-yard box, the lines weren't perfectly, visible. So I made conscious effort to make sure I was getting wide, especially when the kind of left wingers or the right wingers were getting into the close to the box, to that, coming into the box, just to make sure if I needed to make a penalty call or a free kick call on the edge of the box, I was in a good position. So I got wide a lot, lots of sprints that I felt really good with. So yeah, I was really happy. And the Observer, ended up speaking to the Observer after the game really quickly. Just quickly got changed and came out and had a chat. And overall, yeah, his feedback mirrored. He was happy with all the cautions, happy with the red card, happy with my management, my application of law, which is great. But he felt the complete opposite in terms of fitness and performance. He thought my sprints were laboured, and which was interesting. So, but overall, the general feedback was, I felt, pretty positive. But the last comment was, do I think you're ready for that next level? And he said, I think you're a bit short. So I'm really intrigued to see what his feedback and what the report's going to look like, because I actually thought his feedback was positive in most cases. Yes, he said, apart from the sprints being laboured, I thought actually there's so many positives here that, I'm going to get a good mark, but we'll see. We will be reviewing that in a minute on this video. It will be a few days time in real life, but I will make sure that we'll go through that report and call out the positives and negatives and see what actual mark I end up getting. It is late. It is now 20 past 11. So I've been talking for 5 minutes. And I was kind of naughty. I've had a game last night, I had a game tonight. I knew I wouldn't feel like cooking. So I stopped by McDowell's. I got a double cheeseburger. So it's not too bad. I didn't get a meal. And if you're judging me right now, you shouldn't, because you've definitely done it in the past. So do not lie. But I feel like I needed something quick and easy. And unfortunately, there was a McDonald's on the way home. You've done it. So don't even start. And night games, for some reason, I can't get to sleep after them. So already now I can feel it in my head. I'm going to be up for another couple of hours. I just can't get to bed after a night game. Do you feel the same? Does that happen to you, or are you exhausted and you just get straight to bed? Give me a note in the comments. I'd love to know. And then the last thing is, last night after my game, I woke up at like 3 a.m. and I had the worst cramp. I thought my leg was going to explode. It was so painful. And so I'm just going to drink tons and tons of water tonight just to make sure hopefully that will help, because my legs are knackered, exhausted. I can feel that I've definitely put some effort into my legs over the last 2 nights. The next thing you'll see is probably me talking about my observation or something else. So I'll see you guys then.
1 week later.
Hey guys, so I've just got my observation back. It's about a week after the game, and I'm going to go through the observation with you and see what the observer thought about my game. So if you haven't seen one of these reports before, there are 7 different categories, of which have subcategories that the observer marks you against, and each subcategory is marked from 1 to 5. And the overall score you need to get to pass it is 70. So what that equates to is 10 marks of 4 and 10 marks of 3 you need to be able to get your 70. So I'll just dive right into the first category, which is application of law. 3 different subcategories: recognising fouls correctly and consistently, issuing correct sanctions, and applying advantage effectively and managing the follow-up appropriately. So already I can see the scores are 4-4-3, so that's a great start. You know, 2 4s out of the 10 I need, and 1 3 out of the 10 I need, so that's a good start. So the observer said that I was consistent and accurate in foul identification, and strong recognition of the Downton penalty appeal in the 38th minute. So he thought I was good at recognising fouls, and specifically when there wasn't a foul with the penalty appeal. He mentions in the second category, you cautioned Downton 10, 9 and 4, and also sent off the Downton 6 for a dogzo outside the penalty area. Cautioned Verwood 4. It was good to see you use a stepped approach for Downton 10, who you had spoken to on his second foul, and cautioned him on the 4th. So he'd recognised that I was correctly issuing the correct misconducts for the cautions, and obviously the red card for the dogzo. And also like the fact that I used a step approach when it came to Downton 10, who had a couple of clumsy challenges, but then it got to a point where it was just building up into persistent. So I gave him a caution on his 4th challenge. In terms of advantage, here he used some slightly different words, which is mixed bag, with playing this 3 times. The first one, possession, was in the only in the middle third. The second was in the middle third, and lots of scrapping for the ball, eventually ending in the free kick. Third was very good, with foul on Verwood 6, who looked like he was starting to be targeted. Being fouled by Downton 10, took your time and saw a good attack develop. You did a good delayed whistle, 25th minute. So basically I think he didn't feel that my advantages were good advantages, or in the main, in the middle of the third, just give the free kick and get on with it. I would agree on those points. But obviously he's picked up a good advantage too, so I was happy. It's quite hard to play advantage at this level. You never know just how good quality of play that you're going to see on the field. You've got to make that judgment call pretty quickly. But overall happy, 4, 4 and a 3. It's a good start to the observation. Next category is match control, and already that's sticking out to me right now is I got 4 4s, which is I'm pretty buzzing about. As you heard earlier in the video, I felt like I had a pretty good game. I felt like I controlled it. There was a lot of misconduct, but they weren't misconduct for dissent. It was more just a competitive game. So let's read some of the comments. So the subcategories are: had control of the match at every stage, reacted appropriately to changes in temperature, was consistent, objective and not influenced by others, and was firm, decisive, self-confident and self-assured. So some of the comments are: good control of the game evidenced. Good example when Downton 10 fouled Verwood 6, who reacted, you quickly calmed the situation down, talked to number 10 on his own, spoke with Verwood 6 and captain to calm him down. Well done. So that was obviously a potential flashpoint in the game where there was a challenge that went in, one of the players didn't like it, they've both come together and had a bit of an argument. Instead of going straight for a yellow card in that situation, I decided to just isolate the players, have a chat, warn them about their behaviour, and then for the Verwood 6 I needed the skipper in just because I think he was the one who'd reacted and I wanted him let him and his captain know that let me deal with it. I will punish if need be. If they want to get involved, they can, but I will start to punish them, and it's needless for them. Interesting point he's raised here is the Verwood subs are wearing red bibs, the same colour as the Downton strip, which I identified pretty early. I got them behind the barrier, and they went to the change room and changed into green bibs. So he liked the fact that I was observant of things that were just happening off the field as well, that were potentially going to have an impact on either the defending team or the assistant on that side. So that was good. During the middle third of the match, 10 of the 24 fouls were committed and all Downton's cards were issued. This showed a good reaction to the increase in temperature of the match. So that's obviously him evidencing the fact that I was able to change my approach as the temperature of the match increased. During the middle of the game, say the last 15 minutes, the first half and the first 15 of the second half, became very erratic with both teams making appeals for everything. This is where I think it was just, a game that was competitive, that, the teams weren't able to carve out great chances. So I think they were just trying to get as many free kicks as possible. It was good to see that you were not influenced and stayed consistent and objective with your match control and application of rules. So he was just basically saying, well done for not being influenced by those appeals and just staying strong to what I was recognising, fouls or not. And then you gave a confident display and stood up strongly to any challenge to your authority. So super happy with the overall outcome of that section in terms of the observation. Some really good marks. And yeah, I think overall I was super happy with my match control in the game. Now we get on to fitness, work rate and positioning, and as I mentioned earlier in the vlog, he had mentioned this as a development point. I think I showed you earlier there was a load of sprints in the game. I felt my fitness was actually really strong in this game. I did over 9.5 kilometers. So yeah, I was really disappointed when the observer told me this in person. And now looking at the marks, okay, it's not too bad. A 3, a 2, which is bad, and a 3. So he's marked me down on this section overall: fitness, work rate and positioning. The 3 areas was appropriately positioned to be able to make credible decisions, sufficiently close to play without interfering, and displayed good stamina and sprint speed throughout the match. So let's see what he says. You made good use of dead ball time to take up position for the next phase of play. However, there were occasions when anticipating a long ball clearance would have given you the opportunity to be 10-15 yards closer to the drop zone, whereas you appeared to be watching and then reacting. So I can't really remember examples of this, but this is probably where the goalkeepers receive the ball, or even maybe in goal kicks, where I wasn't getting up the field, mainly because I believed in 90% of the scenarios the ball was going to be played short, and in most cases it was. So overall, it's neither here nor there. I got a 3 for this one, so I'm okay. The next one, where I get a 2, this is going to be interesting to read. So I counted that you had to move rapidly to avoid being hit by the ball 3 times in the first half and 4 times in the second. Well, I don't remember having to get out of the way of 7 different times, but okay. All of these occurred in and around the centre circle. You need to make sure you pass through this critical area quickly so that the midfield can use it without an additional body being in the way, which I completely agree. I think that's a fair point. But I don't think there was that many occasions where I got in the way of the ball. Normally, if there are those types of occasions, you're going to hear that from the players. And so I'm super intrigued by this. I just don't feel like the players were actually on my back for being in their way in any sense. So that's an interesting one. And the third one was good stamina and sprint speed. I showed I did a load of speed. I showed I had a load of stamina because I was covering distance left, right and centre. You kept going throughout the match. As discussed, I felt your sprint was a bit laboured in the 46th, 52nd and 83rd minutes when quick breakaways occurred down both forward flanks. Now, I disagree with this. I think I was able to keep up with play. I don't think my body image helps in this situation. I'm a bigger guy, and I feel like sometimes just looking at me may think I look slow, even though I'm in the position where I need to be. So maybe I've got a little bit of bias there because I'm looking a little bit bigger than maybe a referee should, but disappointed with that feedback. But overall, only marked down on one area here, so we'll see how that impacts me going forward. Next category is stoppages, technical offences. So manage penalty kicks and attacking free kicks effectively, manage the other restarts correctly. So managing ceremonial free kicks. In the 44th minute, Verwood defender down in an own penalty area. Downton had a good attacking possession and you halted play when you were probably 20 yards from the injured player, not a head injury. I think you're too quick to assess this injury from a distance and should have allowed for play to continue. The injured player did not need the physio. So this was a good point. Basically, there was a defender down in his own penalty area. The attacking team, the ball had been cleared, but the attacking team had regained possession. Now, to me, that defender being in the penalty area on the floor is a worry because he's keeping all of the players on side. He's injured. Yes, it wasn't a head injury, but I just felt at that moment in time that if this ball gets played through and a goal gets scored because he's keeping players on side, that's going to cause me more hassle than stopping play and dealing with the potential injury. Now, what didn't help me here was when I did stop play, within maybe 5 or 6 seconds, the player was getting up to his feet. So that's probably, from the perception perspective, not the greatest thing, and that's probably what made it look worse than it was. So yeah, I get that. Overall, a 3, so it hasn't killed me there, and we move on to the next one, which I got a 4. You controlled where throw-ins were taken, picked up a foul throw in the 85th minute. You managed all 7 substitutions well. Each team was allowed 5 in this league. 1 at half-time, and loads of different minutes there of the different subs. You took up a good position on corners, moved away as they were being taken to provide a good view towards any trouble areas. So that, I don't know if I mentioned it in the last vlog when I looked from my observation, but corners are a really easy place to pick up marks, so just vary your position, make sure you're not static, get a good viewing angle, and just continuously at different corners try and move to different places so that players aren't expecting where you're going to be positioned, so are not going to get wise during the game to trying to make a foul the blind side of you. So if you keep varying it up, they have to keep guessing and they're just going to have to play the ball and not each other. So yeah, 3 and a 4, good overall mark here. Game understanding. So the subcategories are anticipated what was going to happen next, prevented incidents escalating, and managed player intentions in game situation in an empathetic manner. So again, some good marks, 3, 4, 4. It's looking promising so far. As indicated in positioning, if you anticipate the next phase of play, I believe that you would have been a bit closer to play and especially drop zone. So already I'm not too happy about positioning here because he's basically saying that I wasn't fit enough or wasn't anticipating play enough to get into those positions. I don't think that had an impact on my game on this game. Your involvement in Downton 10, Verwood 6 for captain. This was the example we used before. In the 20th minute was a good example of preventing an incident escalating. Well done. So I appreciate that feedback. And the last one is match control strong. You were seen talking to players to manage individual situations as they developed. Use a stepped approach with 4 players, 3 times talk to, 1 with the captain. And yeah, so happy with that. Again, some good marks. Teamwork. It's really hard to work with club assistants. You never know what you're going to get. Sometimes it's a sub, sometimes it's going to be a coach or a volunteer. But basically, again, the key point is giving effective pre-match instructions to assistant referees. So I spoke to club assistants 10 minutes prior to kickoff. I have no idea how someone gets any higher mark than a 3 on this category. I can understand how you get lower if you don't speak to your assistants, maybe. But how do you get higher than that? I don't know. So it's an interesting criteria to have in an observation. Acted correctly and communicated well when offences were indicated by the AR. So worked well with both assistants. Good overall of Verwood AR for throw in the 69th minute. So that again is me basically being aware to the situation that I just saw a nick differently to the assistant. I told him at the start of the game, if I go in a different direction, it's just because I've seen something from a different angle, might have seen it in different ways. So that was fine. I didn't go badly with the assistant in that scenario. And you did pick up the Downton AR's flag late in the 46th minute, which would have been embarrassing if Verwood had scored, as the flag was just inside Downton's half. So yeah, I think I remember this, just a late pickup of the assistant, and yeah, he's right. Luckily, it didn't lead to a goal. So fair enough. 3-3, pretty average on that side. And then communication. So signalled effectively and with confidence, used the whistle effectively, displayed positive body language, especially when under pressure. So what has he said? So your signalling was strong throughout. Don't forget that you need to keep your arm raised until another player touches the ball from an indirect free kick if there is no chance on a shot and goal. Don't forget that you do not need to. Sorry, okay. So this is just that from an offside, I was keeping my arm up in the air until a player received the ball. Obviously, in law now, you don't have to do that if the ball's going nowhere near the goal. This is just practice. I don't think it's a issue, but yeah, it's something I don't need to do. Your use of whistle was appropriate both in intensity and amount of use. So that seems like a good feedback. Again, a 3. So how do you get higher than a 3 in some of these categories? I don't know. And displayed positive body language, especially when under pressure. You displayed positive body language, especially when challenged. So that was the feedback I got on that. So I saw a lot of 4s, a lot of 3s, and 1, 2. So I'm hoping it's a good mark. I haven't been totting this up as I go. So overall score is, I need a 70 to go to be at that level. And I got a 69. So actually that 2 earlier on has impacted my score overall. I obviously didn't pick up the number of 4s that I needed to get the mark. Yeah, I'm really disappointed with that, because overall this observation and the last observation, I almost feel like the mark should be the other way around. I don't think I had a particularly fantastic game in that first one, whereas this one I definitely felt like I had a much more positive game. There was a lot more to have to referee with the cautions and the red card. So yeah, quite disappointed, especially the fact that really there was one category that he marked me down on, which was fitness. So if that 2 was a 3, I would have got my 70. So yeah, overall gutted, disappointed. But actually, if I take both now, I've got a 71 and a 69. The average is 70. I've got 3 more that I need to get at that average, so I'll take it on the chin. I could dwell on this and get disappointed and upset, but my average is where it needs to be, and I'm happy with that. So, yeah, need to work harder for the next games. Maybe improve and work on the fitness as well to make sure that doesn't come up again. That's a key point, a key thing that I need to look into. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed us going through the observation report. If you have any feedback, any questions, chuck it down in the comments. But yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Hey guys, just a quick note to say thanks so much for watching our videos, Matchday Vlogs with myself, Hassan. John, my colleague, has also got some great vlogs too, where he talks about refereeing his first professional game, and or being an assistant on his first professional game, and getting a referee appointment on the level above his normal league. So definitely check them out. It would mean the world to us if you just spend 2 seconds. If you can like this video, if you can subscribe, leave a comment, we'll definitely reply. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.